Fill your thirst beside the river. Wash the journey from your hands. Feel the comfort flow inside you. Come this far, you understand.
Hi, welcome to Healing Outside the Box. I'm Rosemary Lachance, an energy healer and a spiritual teacher.
And I'm Dina Scungio, a student of spirituality.
And I'm Jimmy Driscoll, director, writer, producer, and hell of a nice guy.
And this is our 156th show.
Woo!
And the title of the show is called Karma and Forgiveness. And it is taken from Hans Wilhelm's Life Explained series, which is available to you on YouTube or on the internet at www.lifeexplained.com. And we'll give you that information again at the end of the show. This is part 3 in our series.
Right.
Okay. This show is a live show. It's a call-in show. While we still have guests from time to time, we're also going to do these shows which will give you food for thought information about spirituality based on the teachings of Hans Wilhelm from his website. We will play 1 or 2 different DVDs on each show and then have dialogue about it. We welcome and encourage you to call in and ask your questions. We also encourage you to send emails to me or to write letters to the station asking your questions about the show, and we'll answer them on our other shows or privately if you prefer. This is not a religious show, and no matter what religion you believe or follow, the information we give you will only enhance your beliefs. We do not try to convince you of anything. Unfortunately, calling in can only be done if you live in North Haven, where, excuse me, where the show is live on this night, the original night, excuse me, and you have Comcast cable to be able to do that. Or if you have Frontier cable, our show can be seen anywhere in Connecticut, and you may call in live. Other than North Haven, these shows are recorded, and they'll be shown in your town in future dates. And if you have a group that you think would be interested in what we have to offer, I'm available to come to your group and to teach from the Life Explained series. We will give you all our contact information at the end of the show.
To find out what shows are playing in your area and when they are playing, please contact the public service channel in your town. And please like our show under Facebook, under Healing Outside the Box. And enjoy the show.
Okay. Well, we're going to start off the show by showing our first video, and that's going to be called Karma. And after we hear that, we'll talk about it. So give me a few minutes to bring it up. Here we go. Oh, I'm sorry, it's called Forgiveness.
Hi, I'm Hans Wilhelm. And in this video in the Life Explained series, I will talk about forgiveness. It's a huge topic, and I can only cover some important points, and I hope you forgive me for not being able to cover everything. In traditional forgiving, we say something like, I forgive you for the wrong that you have done. This, of course, is very self-righteous. It basically implies that you were wrong, but I'm right, or I'm so much better than you because you once failed. Our ego loves this type of forgiveness because it puts the other person down and enforces separation. Is there another way of looking at forgiveness? Come, let's have a look. As spiritual beings, our true home is the spiritual world. But we do incarnate here into the material world on earth because it allows us to grow faster and to become free again and to clear up past karma. So, together with our spiritual guide, or guides, we discuss our future life in great detail before we got born. We purposely plan certain situations that give us great opportunity for growth and freedom. From the human perspective, these situations may seem horrendous, brutal, or inhumane. They are just like hurdles for a sprinter. We ourselves have lovingly put them into our paths so that we can challenge ourselves and become better and free again. As a matter of fact, very often loving spiritual beings have agreed to incarnate with us into this world at the same time to provide us with these difficult situations for our good. They do this out of love for us. But here on earth, We perceive them often as the difficult ones, the ones who give us the trouble, the pain, the suffering, because once we are here on earth, we don't remember anything of these soul's arrangements that we have done prior our birth. Now let's see how it looks on earth. Let's imagine for a moment we are somebody who is here on earth, has totally forgotten who we are, this magnificent, beautiful spiritual being that we are in truth. And we think, well, life is just get best whatever I can get. So we are trying to cheat, lie, and steal our way through life. And this whole universe is based on sending and receiving. So continuously we are sending out vibrations of stealing, cheating, lying. And of course, whatever we send out comes back to us eventually. And if we do not change our behavior pattern, sooner or later we have a person who is doing the same thing to us, a cheater, a liar, a thief, whatever. He is expressing what we have been doing all the time to others. Like for instance, in this case here, let's assume he is actually physically hitting us. I know this is maybe an extreme example, but the dynamics are the same. Hitting like in a spouse beating. Everybody who witnesses will agree that he is the bad guy and we are the poor, poor victim here. But is that true? What actually is happening here in reality? The first rule is that there are no accidents in lives. Everything has a purpose and everything is for our good. This is a friendly universe, even in this situation. The second rule is that whatever others outwardly do unto us, we have been doing inwardly to ourselves as well as to others. For instance, a person who is physically hitting us is reflecting back to us what we have been doing inwardly to ourselves. We have been hitting and even hurting ourselves with our beliefs, in this case most likely our unworthiness, a belief that we feel we need to be punished for something that we imagine we have done. And now the punisher has appeared in our life and gives us what we have been doing to ourselves all the time. Now this is the only reason why this person, the perpetrator, has come into our life. He mirrors back to us what we have been doing to ourselves. He has come to provide us with the opportunity to get in touch with our original pain and see how a certain belief about ourselves was running our life. He is our wake-up call. In truth, this perpetrator is not a bad guy at all. No, he is actually a helper in disguise, a soul with whom we have made a soul contract to help us. A soul who cares deeply for us and has taken on the very difficult life of an angry person only to teach us a lesson to wake up from our false beliefs. This soul did this out of love. In truth, nothing horrible has really taken place here. The person who hits us, the person who steals from us, the person who cheats on us, the person who betrays us, is always reflecting the very same thing back to us. They are expressing what we have been repressing or doing unto others. Life always gives us many warnings beforehand, but if we don't recognize these warning signals and don't change, these people will come into our life and help us to realize the damage that we are doing to ourselves and others. In truth, they are our savior. They're here to help us. It's all about us and our distorted view of ourselves and the world. So, is forgiving such a person the right response? Strictly speaking, not. Thanking that person would be a far more appropriate action. He deserves our deep gratitude. So the first step here for us is to allow this new understanding, this new concept of the situation sink into our mind and into our heart. It might be very difficult at first because it is so new for most of us. But once we understand that the outer situation is nothing but a reflection of what goes on within us, we may be open to this new way of looking. Once we have totally grasped the reality of this situation, we will feel a noticeable shift in us. It may not be a total forgiving yet, but we are on our way, and God will do the rest for us if we surrender our control to Him. Then usually something remarkable will take place. The other person will drop his old behavior almost instantly. or he will vanish from our life. His purpose and his contracts are fulfilled. He has woken us up from our own nightmare. He no longer is needed, at least not in a role as a perpetrator. He now can become the loving husband or the loving wife or whatever. Amazing how everything shifts when we look at situation with a deeper understanding. The understanding we had prior our incarnation. We knew this was going to happen. If you like to explore this further, I strongly recommend a wonderful book and website that can guide you further. The book is called Radical Forgiveness by Colin Tipping, with an easy step-by-step program. This is groundbreaking work. On Colin Tipping's website, you will find videos and worksheets to get started. Now, why do so many people find it difficult to forgive another? Firstly, of course, our society, in our society, we are trained to believe in perpetrators and victims. In truth, there are no victims, ever. This may be very unsettling for many, particularly for those who believe in victimization of a whole group of people like nations or religions. The problem with remaining a victim is that we give all our own power away. Forgiving itself is easy, but not the willingness to forgive. For instance, our identity might be connected to the abuser, like everybody knows I hate my evil ex-spouse, my nasty co-worker, my horrible parents. And if we suddenly forgave them, what will others think of us? Who are we then? So we often hold on to the old grudges because our ego loves to keep us unhappy. People often hold on to grudges because it helps them to avoid loneliness. Yes, that's true. They think about the enemies, they feel connected to them. It makes them feel less lonely. Crazy, but true. Maxwell Maltz points out that we find it difficult to forgive only because we like our sense of condemnation. As long as we can condemn another, we can feel superior to him. By not forgiving, we want to hold on to the other as a prisoner. But a prison needs a warden. And who would that be? Us, of course. Basically, we are now both in prison. One as a prisoner and the other one as a warden. Not forgiving also means that we want to hold on the speed down, the speed of change, the speed of development. You see, when we forgive, something amazing happens. Life begins to move more rapidly because we are suddenly free again. And that can be very scary for some. Not wanting to forgive is like taking poison and hoping someone else is going to die. Forgiveness is not something that we give to another. We give it to ourselves. We are the ones who need to be freed, not the other person. We have to forgive ourselves for not having seen the other person as a perfect expression of love, just like you and me. We have to forgive ourselves for having temporarily been blinded by our fearful ego that only identifies with our body's needs and status. In truth, all forgiveness is always self-forgiveness. Now, I know this is a lot to think about. It is contrary to what the world and our religion teach us, but listen to your heart and see if this makes sense to you. Now, the rules are slightly different when we have wronged somebody. Let's imagine here is somebody whom we have hurt, we have stolen from, we have cheated, we have lied to, whatever it's done, something horrible. Naturally, we cannot assume that this person we have hurt knows about the underlying perfection of everything. He most likely will be very upset and angry with us. And we have to go to him and ask him for forgiveness and offer to make amends. For as long as we are not forgiven by the other person, we are spiritually bound to that soul. Sometimes for many, many lifetimes. But forgiveness and making amends sets us free. Wow, this is a lot. I like to conclude with a quote by Gandhi. The weak never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So what y'all think of that?
Well, I have a problem with some of it.
Okay.
First of all, could you just explain to us who Hans Wilhelm is?
Okay.
You know?
Yes. He's a famous author, a world-renowned author, famous for writing children's books. I met Hans in 1982, where we had both studied with many other groups, and we're searching for answers to life. What made me search was the fact that I couldn't understand when we were told in the religious groups that life was fair. Everyone had the same chance in life. And I thought, that doesn't make sense, because some people are born just fine. They go through their life and it's very good. Other people go through their life and they have a lot of problems. Other people are born blind or deaf or retarded or rich or poor or crippled or whatever. And I thought, now that's not the same for everyone. That's not the same chance. Why is that? Why is somebody who you say, God, they were a great person, they died so young, and this other person who was terrible lived so old? All these questions remained unanswered for me, and I couldn't find the answers in the religions everywhere I went. So my last prayer before I found this group was, please, please put it all together for me and tell me, let it make sense. And so one day I went to this group, and Hans was there, and we met, and we studied together for all these years. And the teachings that we have, we're passing on to other people as food for thought information, never saying this is the way it is, this is it. No. Whatever resonates in you, you keep. The rest, throw it away. And find something to believe in. If you don't believe this, that's fine, but find something to believe in that will make you a happy, peaceful person living the Golden Rule and the Ten Commandments. And that's who he is. He's a delightful man. I've had him on the show a few times, and everybody loves him.
You know, he sounds delightful. He sounds, you know, like he has a format, something that he studied, something that he's, you know, researched, and this is the equation to it all. But I do have a problem with some of it. Forgiveness. You know, it was a little different for me when he said that. You know, it's not to atone our ego. It's not about our ego when you forgive someone. And it's just like, okay, I forgive you because it makes me above you and you're lower. I forgive. Okay, I can get that. That's great. Look at another view. The problem I have, and I was taking my notes, when all right, just for instance, when I was just talking about it, you know, he made a point of you're the victim. Okay, and I'm thinking of people like, I think about the kids in Sandy Hook. You know, these kids who were, you know, taken out at such a young age. And then I, you know, do some spiritual searching and find out maybe it was their contract. Their contract was up and they were leaving us a message because this is why we had to do this. Okay, all right, I can kind of accept that. But then there are serial killers and there are people who are just innocent to society who are victims.
Words. To society as we know it.
Right.
Not to God and his plan for us and what he is for us and what he has taught us and what the whole meaning to life is about. Serial killers are here for a reason. Who they kill are here for a reason. Could be someone in a past life that was killed by a serial killer was a serial killer. I don't know. I'm not going to give you, you know, pat answers for whatever.
Right.
But you have to know that, to think that God would single someone out to be killed by a serial killer or to be killed by at random by somebody breaking into a school and shooting all those people, to think that God would plan this, you'd have to think he was a horrible monster. Why doesn't he step in?
Some people do.
I know. He doesn't step in because he gives us free will. He wants us to come to him of our own accord. He doesn't make anybody do anything. And if he helps one, where does he stop? Help you? I won't help her. I'll help her. No. All the same. Free will.
See, I just got into this discussion with a friend of mine who just lost a loved one. And my whole thing is, and it all stems back to 9/11. And I'm sorry, but this is my belief. This is where I'm going now. All right. I don't believe a God is a he, and I don't believe that a God is I save you and I condemn you. I don't.
Right.
I believe the most symptomatic form of God is love. And I would rather take it, this is my own belief, that I believe that anything that has to do with love has to do with God. Anything that has to do with war has to do with hurt, maiming, or violence or disruption has got to deal with man.
Absolutely
Okay?
true. Perfect.
All right? So, I mean, I can cut a line in the sand. unfortunately, a lot of people don't see it that way. Now, when 9/11 happened, and there is a group that's across the ocean that are killing Americans in the name of God, and then a president of our United States is condemning them, and we're going to go kill them in the name of God. Hold on. I think we got this all wrong, gang.
Yeah.
And in the name of God, I mean,
Do you know how many wars have been started through the centuries
absolutely.
in the name of God?
Absolutely.
I think they use it
It
as
still
a
is now.
scapegoat sometimes.
That's right, and
It
it's
always
still
will
going
be.
on. Exactly.
I think they
exactly.
use it as a scapegoat.
Even when you pray, take this little silly thing. Football games, the baseball games, they get on their knees in the locker rooms and they pray to win. You don't pray to win. God isn't on anyone's side. Okay, I say, oh, well, in the Old Testament,
pray
he
to
told
be
him
your
to
best.
go kill these people in the Old Testament. And in the New Testament, now he's love, love, love. Because in the Old Testament, they were worshiping gods with a small g. They were worshiping people, ornaments. They didn't know. They were worshiping the one true God, because he would never do that.
Right.
So that's what you just said. What more wars have been started in the name of God than anything else. And you were so right about all the good. God is love, and the rest is man. And you're right, it's man. It's always man.
Right.
And if these people, the people who passed away at 9/11, it was their time. Nobody passes before their time. Nobody. No accidents, no coincidences in life.
Right.
These people came, they're so brave. I call these people brave. They sacrificed themselves to come here and to do this, to show the world something different. And what happened when 9/11 happened? Everybody was nice to one another for a while.
For about 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, everybody was
And that was it.
nice. In the cars, in the stores, in the streets, people were so nice to each other.
Yeah.
And then the old negative evil started to seep back in, the ego,
Yep.
and things went back to
It
normal.
only lasted about 2 or 3 weeks. That was it.
See? So it doesn't matter who
But it was
perpetrated
nice
these
while it
crimes, whether they were people from overseas or whether they were people right here in the United States. Doesn't matter who perpetrated them. The point is they did do it. And, you know, the darker powers are always at work in the world, trying to get people to commit these negative, evil acts, trying to get people on their side, and people don't even realize that. That's a whole another story. But anyway,
There's one thing that he said in this that I can totally relate to, which is a word that we should use more often, and it is vibration. And it is the vibration that you give off to other people. And for someone who's watching the show right now and doesn't understand that and is not at that level, I'll make it much simpler for you. If someone walks into a room, you can tell almost right away if they're good, bad, or
Indifferent.
wow, you can indifferent, or you can sit down with this person and hang out with them all night, or you can't wait for them to leave the room, or you can't wait to get out of the room. And that's a vibration that they give off.
Yeah.
that's right.
So I believe in a vibration that we all have, and there are certain things that people can do in that vibration that can change a room around. So whether it be at the moment, or in their weekly ritual, or when they go to work, it's their vibration what they give off, and which will lead to our next video when we see karma. What goes around comes around. So that whole vibration thing, if you're so basically, let's make it easy. If you're angry and you're pissed off and you're walking down the street and you're swinging your fists, someone's going to challenge you.
Oh, yeah. You're calling that to you.
You're
Yeah,
calling
yeah,
it
calling
to
the
you.
vibration.
negativity
Right.
to you, the vibration.
If you're going down the street and you're helping an old lady across the street, or helping somebody with their bags, or asking them how it's a nice day and having a conversation, you're going to draw those people together. It's amazing. You know, people a long time ago, and I moved to New York City. Are you afraid to live in New York City? No. There's just a lot more people there. You know, there's just a lot more people. And I'll tell you what, I've never met so many nicer people than I ever. And all you had to do was smile.
Yeah.
If you made eye contact and you smiled to someone, bam, all of a sudden, hey, everything's great.
Well,
you know?
Fear rules the world, unfortunately.
Rules all of
Fear?
us.
Fear.
Oh, fear, yeah.
You know.
It does. You have any questions, Dina?
Well, you know, when he was saying about different things, there are no victims, there are no accidents, things happen to put you into a perspective. I remember that particularly when I had my motorcycle accident, how my mind was, that was a year after my brother died, and how my mind was all over the place. I didn't know where I was coming, where I was going. I was heading in the wrong direction because I was in such a whirlwind after he died, and actually believe that my motorcycle accident, which landed me on the couch for 2 months, purposefully made me sit there and think about where the heck I was going.
Right.
Because I wasn't going anywhere good. I was spiraling. I was questioning because he was taken away at such a young age, and the accident made me sit my butt on that couch and start thinking, clear my head out. And I actually, even though I lost a good chunk of my leg, I'm actually glad it happened, because I think I would have headed in the wrong direction had it not. So, I believe in that. The only other question I'm thinking of is, when you were talking about people who do terrible things, heinous acts, they preach forgiveness, forgiveness, forgiveness. I had a hard time forgiving someone for a very long time until I realized that the forgiving wasn't for them, really, it was for me. Because the longer I didn't forgive them, the more I held on to that anger. And that anger was consuming me.
And you were tied to that person.
And I was tied to that person, and I couldn't get past it. I couldn't get past what he did, and I couldn't get past the anger. And I was tired of being angry, and I was tired of holding on to it. And so I finally let go, and, I feel a whole lot better. And I think my health has gotten better as well because of that. But when you come with someone who's like, I know they say a lot in the church that, if you want to be forgiven, just ask God and he'll forgive you. But people who do things like you said, a serial killer or something like that, and what if they kill somebody and then go to church on Sunday and say, God, I'm so sorry I killed him, can I be forgiven? And then feel like, well, the church says that you're forgiven if you ask, and then go out and do it again.
Okay.
I imagine that's where karma comes into play.
Let me tell you this about forgiveness. God, you don't have to ask for forgiveness. God forgives you right away. Because, see, God is the parent who you couldn't even imagine anything like that on this planet. The love that he gives, you couldn't even imagine it. He forgives because he only sees us as he created us, perfect in every single way. Completely perfect. And when we shed our bodies and we learn our lessons and we pass through all the levels we have to pass through till we get home, and we get back there, we'll be those perfect people again. So, if you say forgive me, he's already forgiven you. So you're not hurting him as far as what you do. You're hurting yourself. You're reaping more on you. If you're going to go out and do it again, I'll confess it, I'll give it up, and then I'll do it again, and I'll do it again. That's a rude awakening for those people someday. So it's not true. It's not the way it works. It's not good for the person because he hasn't learned anything.
I haven't heard it said in church about, what happens if you do that.
I know. They don't, because a lot of churches say that God is a mystery. And there's certain things we're not meant to know. Well, through my studies, I found out that there's everything that we're supposed to know. We're supposed to know everything. And if we really want the answers, what we have to do is just ask and ask and ask. And the day when I stood there and finally yelled up to him after all my studies, but I need everything has a bit of the truth, but I need something to pull together. I need something. I was young like that. A week later, I found it. Because it came from my heart and soul. My heart and soul, heartfelt prayer. Down on your knees, asking, please, I want to change. I don't know how to do it, but I want to change. I need answers. I don't know where to find them, but in my heart and soul, I need them. I want them. You'll get them. Heartfelt.
Life moves rapidly when we forgive. To say I'm sorry, whether it be small or after an argument, or if it's like something that's been growing on for a long time. The hardest thing for someone to do, to break through that ego, to say that they're sorry, even though that they think that they were right, or if they believe that they were right, but they're hurting that person. Even if they don't like that person, it's even harder to say, look, I'm sorry, but I respect you. I think right then and there, things move rapidly. You've just broken this bond. I don't want to say you've broken a seal and you've created a bond, so everyone else can move on, can do that, and that's how I see it, and that's how I feel about it. Relationships with who we have, whoever we deal with, whether we're dealing with strangers, we're dealing with family members. I mean, where do we go? Where do we go from there? All our lives, we can't even get along with siblings. You know. I mean.
Yeah.
So.
That's one thing I always tried to keep important was getting along with my brother. It was just very important to me.
Yeah.
I have friends who don't talk to their siblings at all.
Right.
And I think, well, family is family. There's got to be a way where you can get past the junk, but you know, some people just can't. I mean, their siblings have done too many things wrong.
There's a woman out, I think you know of her, and since we're on this, Esther Hicks, who I've just started to really get into her, and she's a channel. She channels Abraham, and she talks about vibrational patterns, and she talks about people being on a higher vibrational pattern, where we need to go as a society and as human beings, because we're in this box. I mean, religion is great for some people. It will hold societies together when it's used in the right way, right? When we involve our ego with religion and create this concept that, listen, it's all about love. Your God and my God are the same God. Sorry, we are. God is love. That's it. That's it.
Religion and spirituality are two different things. You can be religious and still be spiritual. Or you could be spiritual, just spiritual. Doesn't matter.
Right.
Or you could be just religious, but not spiritual.
Right.
So that's got to be cleared. Religion, there's been a lot of wars fought in the name of religion
Right.
also. We have to go on to the next video, but I want to say one thing before. This victim mentality, what victim mentality does for people, it gives them an excuse not to learn and grow. Not to look at themselves and say, well, what part did I play in this little scenario that made this thing happen to me? Did I play any kind of part? Did I really do anything? It was when a cute little story. When you were young, you and your brother, you'd come home, and I remember one time, and you said to me, Mommy, Johnny hit me. And I said, he did? I said, why? She goes, I don't know. I said, did you do anything? No. You were just standing there, minding your own business, and he came up to you and he just hit you for no reason. Yes.
That's right.
Oh my goodness. Well, we're going to have to go and talk to Johnny and find out. Well, what? Well, maybe I said something. What did you say? Oh, maybe so you did do something. Well, maybe just, and I always thought that was adorable, and we straightened it out. But that's the same thing with people. Look at yourself.
Well, what would you say to somebody who was like a female walking to her car who was, attacked by somebody and raped and left for dead and that kind of thing?
Yeah.
What would you say to that?
It's karmic. That's what I have to tell you. It's karmic.
That's what he's talking about. The person was assigned to take that on as a contract. But what are you learning from that? That's what I don't get.
I don't know what she's going to be learning, but someday, somehow, some way, she will learn.
That all ties into so much other things, as far as I'm concerned. When you say forgiveness, it ties into so much more. Well, we're going to show this thing about karma too, but it also means you have to kind of grasp reincarnation, because that's what it's all coming about. It's what's happened in our past lives, and that can be tough for some people.
Well, I think most people who don't believe in reincarnation won't grasp that at all.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, it's very hard to grasp if you don't believe in reincarnation. To me, reincarnation opened all the doors, answered the questions for me that I had been searching half my life for.
Right.
All right, let's see about karma, and then we can talk about that, maybe put it together. This next video is on karma.
And in this video, in the Life Explained series, I will talk a little bit more about the dynamic of karma, how it actually works. Karma is the law that brings back the results of all the thoughts, words and actions to the person performing them. Just like a boomerang, they sooner or later come back to us with the same or similar effect and result. Now, let's have a look how this karma law actually works. Let's take an extreme case to make it more clear. Imagine we are stealing money from another, like a robber. For instance, here is our gun, and we ask him, give us our wallet, and here is his wallet. We now have his wallet. Now, this action, just like any emotionally charged thought, word or deed, gets immediately stored in, firstly, our body, in our cells, or it may even affect our genes, and I will come back on this one later. Our soul, which is sort of inside our body, it stores it just like a computer. The Akashic records. These are the Akashic records. The word Akashi or Akasha comes from Sanskrit. It means sky, space, or ether. It's just like a corona around our planet that stores all thoughts, emotions, and actions of mankind. Many psychics like Edgar Cayce and others could read these records and help people. And most of all, our action is also stored in the spiritual and semi-spiritual and material planets of similar vibration. These are distant storing planets that work very much like the cloud program of our computer. And finally, of course, our action is also stored in the soul of the person we have harmed. So here we have it in our body, in our soul, in the Akashic records, in the planets, and in the person we have harmed. As I said, it is the law of sowing and reaping. It's like a scale here. Now, we have sowing here, and this is the first half of our action, and we have just done this. We have done the sowing. But life or love is so wonderful. It makes sure that we will be able to experience the other half of our action. So it becomes a total and complete experience for the benefit and growth of our soul. So here is the reaping of the scale. Because only when we experience the whole cycle will we fully grasp the effects of our actions. Now imagine some time has passed and here we are again. A little full and richer because we have stolen this guy's money. And here we are. Now the moment the distant depository planets are full or have reached a certain position, a constellation, the information that we have uploaded will now be downloaded back to us as karma. This usually takes place in the same lifetime. But very often it can take many lives later that we suddenly are facing the results of our own actions from many years or lives ago. For instance, it could be that somebody now robs us, or we suddenly lose all our possessions. Sometimes it can be the soul of the very same person we have harmed in the past, but not necessarily so. Important is that we are now experiencing the effects, the other half of our action. And in some cases, it can also result in an illness or a blow of faith, and it completes the circle or balances the scales. But there is a way to dissolve these karmic effects. It is the law of grace. Also meaning the path of forgiveness. The law of grace requires us to open our heart and truly repent, meaning feeling into the person we have hurt and imagining the hurt and loss the other person has felt as deeply and as strongly as we can. We want to make sure that the strong feelings of remorse are stored in our soul and body, so that if we are ever tempted to do a similar crime in the future, we will remember the pain that we have inflicted and hopefully not commit it again. Forgiveness also means that we have to go to the person and ask for forgiveness and offer to make amends. Only when the other person has truly and fully forgiven us and accepted our offer of amends will it be possible that the karma is dissolved. This is the law of grace. But this only works if we also change our behavior and no longer commit such crimes. It is the same grace, mercy, compassion, and forgiveness that we must give to anybody who we think has trespassed against us or hurt us. Now, if the other person or soul has not forgiven us, we are bound to that person, like with a big iron chain, for as long as it takes him to forgive us. It can take hundreds of years, and therefore forgiveness and to forgive is so important. You may want to check out my videos on forgiveness. Now, remember what I said earlier, that our actions are also stored in our bodies, in our genes to be precise. Why? Because our offspring will now carry this information also in their genes. It most likely will not affect them, but it will become important when we are ready to incarnate again and need a physical body that vibrates closest to our soul vibration. And voila, here is the little baby, the physical body of a baby that has the same genes that we ourselves have sown long, long time ago. Amazing how the cycle closes again. I'm always at awe about the perfection of the spiritual laws and how they all are here to serve us. By the way, some of this information that I have shared here with you comes from the amazing teachings of Gabriele von Würzburg, who has deepened my understanding on the subject with her incredible insights. And if you want to know more about her work, you can go to this website. Her work has been translated into many languages. Now, the interesting thing is that none of us has to create or endure negative karma ever. We are always given the choices between insight or pain. Insight is when we listen to our inner guidance or simply follow the basic suggestions of the Ten Commandments and the Golden Rule that says don't do unto others that you don't want them to do unto you. But if we use our free will in opposition to the Ten Commandments and the Golden Rule, we will learn through the consequences via pain. Mankind is a slow and reluctant learner, and therefore many of us prefer to learn the hard way through pain. Although for thousands of years we are told not to kill, not to steal, not to harm anybody, we still do it and we think we can get away with it. We can't. We never could. But that again is not bad in itself. Everything is always for the best. The fact that we are now have to endure the pain we have inflicted on others will help us to understand their predicament better. It makes us more compassionate, more humane. So in the end, in this friendly universe, everything always turns out for the best for us. This includes the law of karma. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you again soon.
I wanted to say something when you told me about the woman who got raped and killed. You know, you were using that as an example, and I said karma. Now, this is why karma got a bad name a long time ago. It doesn't mean that if we believe this, we look at her and say, well, it's karma. I mean, she deserved it. She did something. No. We look at her with respect because when she was on the other side, she agreed to come here and to go through what she did so she could learn whatever lesson she had to learn. And I call those people very, very brave. So look at them with respect and help her because she doesn't remember, we don't remember when we come onto this life, what we had planned to work out. So if we can all get together and help her and comfort her and be nice to her and give her whatever help that we can, that's more wonderful for us and our souls. But we don't do it for that reason. We do it because we're becoming those beautiful people.
Well, I get stuck in the whole, when we first left heaven or the original sin thing or whatever that was, because the only reason I could think I'm here is because I got bored floating around on a cloud. I mean, I don't know where else I would do anything that I would want to ever hurt.
I know, you would think
my
that
father,
there is
God,
an explanation for that, unfortunately.
And what am I paying for? Because, you know, you don't remember when you're here. So,
right.
But the first time you come here, our very first time here, are we paying because we left? Because we left him?
We're not paying. I mean, he's not making us pay. We're paying ourselves. You stick your hand in the fire, you get burned. You're paying. You got the burn. It hurts. And there's a whole story about the original creation, what happened, why we left heaven, and all that. But I wouldn't have time to talk about that now. But I can give those answers, and they can be made available to anybody who really wants to find out.
Well, I'm sure that's a big question, because it always was in my mind. I thought, you know, I have, like I said before,
why would we want to? Yeah.
I have yet to watch The Passion, because I can't sit there and watch the pain they inflicted on this man who came back to help us.
I know.
I can't handle it. I just can't. I started to watch it, and I started crying and screaming at the TV, and I was like, that's it. I had to turn it off. I couldn't do it.
I know. Well, some of us have those very compassionate hearts like that, you know?
Well,
So-
Brian Weiss, the book out, Many Lives, Many Masters.
Right, right.
Which,
Good book.
which I suggest people to read because it deals with past life experiences. A doctor who stumbled upon this, Brian Weiss, and a very, very, very good book. It gives you an idea of why things may be the way that they are. Like they, you know, if you try to structure some kind of belief that, okay, this is not the first time we've been here, we've come here, we were here many, many times before. You know, I had a reader a long time ago when I was in New York, and he told me, you know, I've been around about, a good dozen times I've been back here, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes a woman, sometimes,
Yeah,
you know,
a man,
you know,
yeah.
back in, you know, so my past life regression, you know, I try to understand that. So the whole thing that ties in with the karma thing, and I feel very blessed, and to be here in this country, to live free, to walk this path that I walk now, with love all around me, and wherever I go and whoever I meet, you know, there's no resistance. It's like, hey, how you doing? You know, type of thing, which everybody should be like, because that's wonderful. And then I feel so bad of what goes over on in the Middle East and all these third world countries, that there's so much turmoil. But I guess there's turmoil everywhere. I mean, you can find it anywhere. But you can also find peace.
Well, groups of people who are warring, of individuals
Yeah.
who are negative, they attract one another. You know that saying, like attracts like?
Yeah.
And they'll attract to each other into same places, like these warring countries. And what they're taught, the leaders over there that teach them these things concerning God that are not true, like, you know, God wants you to kill, and you're going to get 21 virgins, and things like that. I mean, that's...
Silence.
Anyone with common sense has to know, but they don't, because this is what they were brought up with. This is what they learned, and they believe it. But that's why that's the warring fractions in certain countries. That's what happens, you know? And a lot of times people who are born in less fortunate countries, like in Africa and everything, what they're suffering, they've gone there on purpose to learn. They have nothing. What they have learned, you have to respect
world
them.
countries,
yeah, you have to respect and admire them too. And you know what? They learn a lot faster than we do, because people, especially in the United States, love the drama. You know, we love all the drama. We love to get caught up in all the drama. Who divorced who, and who married who, and who's cheating on who, and who's got a new boyfriend and a new car and a new house, and oh, he was so wonderful, and look what happened to him. We love the drama. That's why we don't learn as fast as we should.
Okay. I agree.
Yeah. And this Akashic record that he talked about,
Yeah.
you know, when you go visit a psychic and she tells you things that have happened in your past life, she's able to pick it up from that record. She doesn't know. Some of them know, some of them don't. That information is out there for all of us to pick up. If we hone our own skills, we can all do all these things. All these, what you say, he has a gift. We all have the gifts.
We all have it. We haven't hit that vibrational pattern. We don't have that we don't know how to get there.
Right.
That's how...
Exactly. We're too busy up here. There's too much going on to be able
Right.
to relax and to calm and to
Right.
be peaceful. And the world keeps us busy trying to make a living. It was a time when parents used to be there for their children. Suppers like what we had, remember? 6 o'clock supper. Discussions. How was your day? Talk about what's going on. We had those
Not
every
many
night.
people do that anymore.
We laughed, we joked, we cried, everything. People don't do that anymore. The poor parents, they
yelled
don't
at.
have the time to do that anymore. But of course, if you want to live a certain way, you want a certain lifestyle, you have to give up something to get that. And you're going to give up your time. Your time to do these things, your free time, your time to learn to be spiritual. It's going to be, that's what will be given up, because you're struggling to keep that position you want in life. You want that house, that car, those trips, those clothes, those this or that. So it depends what you choose for your lifestyle. Who's happier? I don't know.
Exactly. You know, and if you talk to all these wealthy people and who've got tons of money and have all these cars, it doesn't make him any happier.
No.
Oh, it's great to have it. You know, you give it to do other things, but that's truly does not make you happy.
No.
And you can ask any of them. I mean, their health, their family, and true friends is what really, really makes them happy. And that makes all of us happy, you know? And if we break down the structures that we've all created with the people across the street, if you really get rid of that and you break down those walls, we are all people. We're all loving people. We all have love.
Oh, definitely.
We all do. We create the wall. We create the barriers. We create the karma. What goes around comes around. You know, they get what's coming to you. And you hear that too. You hear that out of anger out of somebody else. Oh, you know, karma's a bitch. It's coming at you.
Yeah.
It's coming back. And then we glorify it. See, there you go. All right. See, you deserved it, you son of a...
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's so wrong.
Right.
So wrong to do that, you know, because we don't know the situation with that person. And we can't just say, I remember when I was learning, somebody said they look at him and go, oh, he fell on his face. That's karma. That's how when you walk away. Where's the compassion? Where's the compassion? Where's the respect for what he's going through? Because...
Well, what about someone who, like, I'll just say a boss who treats their employees terribly and doesn't care because it's all in the name of money, or says to, you know, it's not personal, it's business. It's always personal.
It's always personal.
Because these are people that you're personal to. It's always personal.
And he doesn't get it.
And he doesn't get it,
Your
but
boss
he's
doesn't get it.
hurting lives. He's hurting people, and you know, you could just turn around and say, well, if you don't like it, go work somewhere else. But that's not the point. The point is you can make it better here. You can make our jobs better. You can make people's lives better, and you can still make money. And people, when they respect you, they will do anything for you.
I know.
That's right.
They will work hard for you. They will stay for you. I had a boss like that. I would do anything. He could call me at any time of day and say, I need you to come in. I would come in.
Yep.
I would do anything for him, and I still would to this day.
Well, these people
You know, but
who-
some people don't have that.
I know, some people, the people who don't have that, who rule that way with an iron fist and an iron thumb, you got to really feel sorry for them, because someday it's all going to catch up to them. And there's something going on inside of them. There's some hurt and pain and something that is making them suffer, that is causing them to take it out on everyone else.
But when you take it out on more than one person, when you take it out on a giant group of people,
it doesn't matter.
and for a long period of time,
And maybe a lot of those people are there to learn tolerance with this man, to learn understanding. Maybe if they all got together and sent love to him. Oh, yeah, wow, like they're saying, oh, yeah, I'm going to do that, right? But you know something? You know how they say, couldn't hurt. Couldn't hurt.
might help.
Might help.
I don't know.
Might help. Couldn't hurt. When you keep sending positive vibrations out, if everybody in the world walked around sending positive vibrations out to everyone, oh, we would change this planet.
All right, let me let me share a story with you. When I was running the nightclubs in Manhattan, I was working at the Palladium. I was a production coordinator. We were doing the first annual Source Awards, which were being held at Radio City Music Hall, and the after-show party was at the Palladium. Now, Radio City Music Hall holds 7,500 people. The Palladium holds 3,500 people. Now, anyone who went to the Source Awards got a badge, a laminate. They put it around their neck, and it said on the laminate, after-show party at the Palladium, which a lot of people thought, oh, I'm going to the after-show party. Didn't realize it cost money to get in. That meant nothing. It was just telling you that's where the party was. So the show, the Source Awards ended, everybody was coming to the party. LL Cool J, all these big artists were at the Palladium. They're going to do a show. They're going to be... So everyone is now waiting in line. The line is around the block, okay, and everyone wants to get in. They're trying to get in the back door, trying to get into the front door. The police are called. Our security guys are armed with mace, okay? We've got one door open to let people in because we're afraid we're going to get bum rushed. We had all these rappers showing up. We had a big rapper at the time who was alive showed up, and a shot was fired, and a riot almost ensued, and they bum rushed the door. One of the security guys got stabbed.
Wow.
20 guys, people ran in, guns were drawn, people hit the floor.
Oh, how silly.
So now, inside the club, everybody's still dancing and having a party. So as long as we don't have a riot inside, we got to turn the lights up. We got to change the beat of the music so people, and we slow the booze down at the bar so people aren't getting as much booze. The party starts to dwindle and people are starting to leave. Okay? Around the corner from the club, here's my point. We have riot police with dogs and mace. And we have angry people outside on the other block. It took one man, a sergeant from the New York City Police Department, to come out, and he walked over to a bunch of angry people and said, hey, you know, would you mind? I don't want anybody to get hurt on the street here. There are cars that are coming by. You know, I want you to be safe. I don't want anyone to get hurt. Do you mind crossing the street, you know, so everyone can have a great night? And it changed like that. Everybody who was out front and all that mayhem that was going on was one cop, no riot gear, no dogs, no tear gas, nothing. One cop walked out and said, hey guys, do you mind? I mean, all of a sudden it was like, sure, not a problem, okay. No, and it dispersed. Within 15 minutes, everybody had left.
That's the point. See, that's what it takes.
Yeah.
He
Well,
came at it at a totally different angle.
Exactly.
From right now. Nobody got hurt. I mean, one guy got hurt because of the mayhem and the stress that was happening when, you know, a gunshot, and that's what happened. But it took one guy who just came at it from a different angle and calmed everything down. I will always remember that story.
Right. We've got about 3 minutes left, but if you try that with people, if you're out there and think, I'll try that, and they don't respond, don't give up. Don't be upset, because not everyone's going to respond. But just keep trying, and you're going to find a lot more respond that don't.
Well,
We got about 3 minutes left, so
you gotta, the person that should be out there. I mean, if that cop was an idiot, he would have gotten, you know, a bad response, and that's where I came from with the boss. The boss isn't being an idiot, and things aren't going well within the company.
If you raise the bar to that person's higher bar and try to up one them because they're yelling at you and you yell at them, you're not going to get anywhere.
you know, I used to call it.
But this person isn't waking up. He isn't seeing.
Right.
When I used to argue with someone, and I would say, he's building a fire, and I stopped and thought, wait a minute. If I'm going to argue back like him, I'm going to take my logs and put them on his fire. We're going to have a bigger fire. Is he going to put more logs in a bigger fire? So don't add any more logs to the fire.
Right.
No.
Don't add any more logs.
Well, I wasn't
Let
trying
them
to
burn
add
out.
any
No, I'm not
logs.
saying to you, but I'm saying when that happens
But this fire
to anyone.
is, you're trying to tell someone who holds a higher position than you that, hey, we'll work for you, but you got to be good to us.
You can't tell them that.
No, they're not. They don't.
You have to send it. Telling doesn't work. You have to send that love. Everybody in their hearts, send it. See,
Send
that's
love.
I know. I see that look on your face.
Send love.
And all of them.
I love you.
See how it is with people? That's what people feel like. I don't want to send love. I want to punch them out. Okay?
It's tough. It's very tough.
It's very tough.
It's very difficult. It's
And
a constant battle.
The biggest thing I have to not be able to do that is when I see people hurt or abuse animals.
Oh, I know.
That's my knife in my heart thing, you know, that I try to work on, but
Yeah, then how do you forgive that?
I
Right?
know.
Yeah.
How do you forgive that?
So I know what you mean.
But you know, when that is going on, it's got something's going on with that person. It's like, and you gotta rechannel them to go a different way. It all comes from somewhere.
I know. We have to give our contact information now. We've only got another minute. So this has been wonderful tonight. Really enjoyed this. Let's give our contact. To learn more information about this show or any of our past shows, contact us at whitebuffalo8@comcast.net or to reach me, Rosemary Lachance. The phone is 203-627-7966. Or please visit my website, www.rosemarylachance.com, where there's tons of information for you. Or you can write a letter to this address, NHTV, 127 Washington Avenue, North Haven, Connecticut. And we're also on Facebook under Healing Outside the Box. And remember, folks, if you want to watch these videos ahead of time before we show them, please go on www.lifeexplained.com, where you can see everything that Hans Wilhelm has done. You can see these videos over again. You can ask questions of us and everything. So for tonight, we're saying good night. It was wonderful to have you. Good night.
Feel the comfort flow inside you. Come this far, you understand.